Hello, my name is Keisha Quiles. We are CJ 115 Client Growth and Development. Thank you for all attending our research project on the issue of theft on campus. The mission of Grand Rapids Community College is to provide the community with the learning opportunities that enable people to achieve all of their goals. We have a vision. We are a vibrant institution of higher education dedicated to enriching people's lives and contributing to the vitality of the community. As GRCC students, we try to respond, be accountable, embrace, innovate, be diverse, excel, respect, and service. From 2009 to 2010, the Criminal Justice Department has grown by 51%, making us the #1 department at Grand Rapids Community College, and we will continue to grow.
Hi, my name is Brittany Joyce, and we fall under the School of Workforce Development. Today's marketplace demands you to be a skilled, creative employee who can adapt to changing technology and procedures. GRCC and the workforce can give you the education and skills that you need to succeed in this ever-changing environment. Here you can learn new skills for your current job or new career and grow professionally through continuing education or customized workshops. We're headed by Fiona Hurt, our dean, and our associate dean, Paula Sullivan. We're comprised of approximately 124 full-time and 150 part-time staff who are all dedicated to our students. Right now, we're serving 47% of Grand Rapids Community College students. Under the School of Workforce Development, we are part of the Criminal Justice Department.
Hi, I'm Tamika Fudge. Under the Criminal Justice Department, we are CJ 115 Client Growth and Development. A strong research component is underlined in this course. We examine the psychological, social, and environmental cause of criminal behavior in juveniles and adults. The impact of psychological substance abuse, sexual and medical problems of offenders, and intervention strategies using institutional and community settings. And now, we'll turn it over to the purpose of research.
Hello, I'm Rachel Dennis, part of the Purpose of Research team. The purpose of research is to collect data. We need the research to get the answers so we can take what we discover and make a difference, make a change. Our research provides analysis, evaluation, and assistance to criminal justice agencies along with community information and education on public safety. The research that the criminal justice field works on are the fundamentals for everything that has been achieved so far and what will continue in the future. While researchers begin with a hypothesis of what the data should say, they must be careful to let the data speak for itself and not be manipulated. Criminal justice researchers should endeavor to research a wide range of topics to help paint a complete picture of the causes of crime and the effectiveness of the criminal justice system. Recent criticism of criminal justice research has been that it focuses too much on poor and minority populations, and the research has been used to justify harsh punishments against these groups.
Hi, my name is Althea Lasha, and the purpose of research for theft on campus is finding out what you don't already know. No one knows everything, but everybody knows something. However, to complicate matters, what you know or think you know may be incorrect. Reason being for lack of or incorrect information on your subject. There are two basic purposes for research. One is to learn something and to gather evidence. Research requires at least two things: knowing what has already been discovered, having a background on your subject, such as their economical or their character status. And two, formulating a method to find out what you know, what you want to know. You decide how best fit the information to find. Can you cut? Okay. You decide how best fit the information you need to arrive at a conclusion. Who is targeted the most, what is most commonly stolen. It is to include the nature, date, time, and general location of each crime, as well as its disposition if known. Evidence is necessary to avoid making mistakes, being misled, or duped, or passing on errors to others.
Hi, I'm Rob Bennett, and we are the Ethics and Research Team. What are ethics? A branch of philosophy concerned with the study of questions of right and wrong, making moral judgments on how we ought to live. It's your moral compass or your conscience, if you will. With this survey, our four primary ethical concerns were the content of the questions being asked, the assurance of anonymity of the respondents, the content of the Confidentiality Clause, and the administering and handling of the completed surveys. Also of importance are three questions that concern ethics and criminology, especially as they apply to surveys. The questions are, should the contents of the surveys be published? Yes, publication of a final analysis was a goal of this project. At the same time, respondent anonymity was also a primary concern. No single question was designed to identify any individual respondent. Second, could the failure of the research team to disclose the completed surveys be considered an obstruction of justice? In this case, no. The questions were chosen by our question development team and approved by the entire research team. Likewise, the Confidentiality Clause team developed their portion of the research project and then submitted it to the appropriate collegiate departments for approval. The Confidentiality Clause, once read and agreed to by the respondent, became an oral contract. The respondents agreed to answer our questions, and we agreed to keep the completed forms confidential. And finally, should criminologists be immune from prosecution? It is our stance that if a researcher knows that someone is going to commit harm to others or to themselves, then names or information should be handed over to the proper authorities.
I am Ben Bruning, and these are ethical principles we used during our survey. It was important that the survey data, results, methods, procedures, and any publication of the survey was done honestly, that we cannot fabricate, falsify, or misrepresent the survey data. It was important that the findings represent an accurate portrayal of the survey. When administering the surveys, it was important that we remind the respondent of the purpose, how the info will be used, assure confidentiality, and make participation voluntary, and that we look professional, and the survey was professional looking. We had to be objective. We had to have open-ended and questions that would cause relevant responses. They had to be unbiased and not specific enough to cause a desired response. We had to avoid careless errors and negligence, carefully examine our work of our peers and ourselves. We had to be open with each other. We had to share info and accept criticism and new ideas. And we had confidentiality. To assure confidentiality, we had a confidentiality clause. We had to assure them they will not be held criminally or civilly liable or be at risk of financial stability, employability, or reputation will be harmed in any way. We had to be non-discriminatory. We had to avoid discrimination against colleagues or students on the basis of sex, race, ethnicity, or any other factors. The questions could not discriminate against any particular group and not impose on them. They cannot be insensitive in any way. And legality. When the survey was finalized, we had to have it approved by our instructor, Nikki Banks, and by the Grand Rapids Police Department to assure them that we will not be held accountable in any way.
Hi, I am Hallie Linenthal, and I am part of the 5 types of research. First one is experiment. An investigator introduces a change into a process and makes measurements or observations in order to evaluate the effects of the change. Non-participant observation. The researcher observes the group being studied but is not a participant in the activities, whereas participant observation is researcher may join and participate in the activities of the group being studied. And case study. And analysts of all permanent aspects of one unit of study, such as an individual, institution, and a group or a community.
I'm Nate Dicker, and the type of research we used to collect our data was a survey. A survey is a systematic collection of respondents that answer questions in a questionnaire or interview. The 3 main types of surveys: random sample, and population. Random sample is no specific group or race is selected before handing out the survey. Sample is a specific race, gender, or other group that is targeted beforehand. Population is a specific group of people that all have a common observable characteristic. And then there's two main categories of research, qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative is the researcher may only roughly know what they want at the end, and is more specific and time consuming, and is the analysis of data such as words, pictures, and objects. Then quantitative is a researcher knows clearly what they want beforehand. It's more efficient and able to test hypotheses, and it involves the analysis of numerical data.
Hi, my name is Raisa Rivera, and we have the Confidentiality Clause. A confidentiality clause is an agreement between two parties to lease or sell that some or all the terms will remain confidential. A third party can, however, compel the revelation of such term by means of a subpoena. Confidentiality clause is also known as a non-disclosure agreement, confidential disclosure agreement, property information agreement, or a secrecy agreement.
Hello, my name is Andy Kokwe, and I'll be talking to you today about the purpose of a confidentiality clause. And working hand in hand with the research and ethics team, I found that a confidentiality clause is necessary for a few reasons. A confidentiality clause ensures that the individual will not be prosecuted for the information they give. A confidentiality clause also allows the individual to be truthful in answering all questions on the survey, which helps us conduct a more accurate survey. Being that the nature of the questions could possibly incriminate the individual taking the survey, it is crucial that a confidentiality clause is in place to protect them and to assure us the most honest answers.
Hi, I'm Cal Petroskis. I'd like to start off with our confidentiality clause that our team created. The clause is as follows. All evidence obtained in the following survey is strictly used for research purposes and will not be used towards prosecution. By taking this survey, you agree to the following conditions. 1, we ask you to be honest with all information given. 2, we ask you to fully complete the survey and answer the questions to the best of your ability. Then we thanked the individual for their time and their honesty. The next stage was to talk to actually create the confidentiality clause. As soon as the confidentiality clause was created, we then typed and distributed the copies to the members of our group and the class. The next stage was to submit the actual final clause to the instructor, Ms. Banks, and the Grand Rapids Community College Police Department. Finally, we took the finalized confidentiality clause and submitted it to the question and development team. Our confidentiality clause was then printed on the top of each survey.
Hi, my name is Amy Westcott, and our group did demographics. The purpose of demographics is to narrow down the area that is being affected the most, and demographics can be anything that puts people into categories.
Hi, my name is Paul Harbin, and the biggest reason that we used demographics in this survey was to divide males and females, and also categorize age groups from 18 and younger to 18 and 21, 22 to 30, and 30 and up. We also divided races, ethnicities into categories such as Hispanics, Caucasians, African Americans, and Native Americans. This way we could see which area was most affected on campus.
Hi, my name is DJ Prince. I am part of the questions development team. Our task was to form questions for the survey. First, we had to ask ourselves, what do we want to know? So as a group in class, we came up with 4 critical questions that would give us the information we needed for our survey. 1, who? Who is stealing? 2, the what? What is being stolen? 3, the where? Where are items being stolen from? And 4, The how safe do you feel at our school campus?
Hi, my name is Nick Law, and I too am a member of the questions development team. And as DJ stated, our first objective was to ask ourselves, what do we want to know? And by doing this, we were able to easily establish a rough copy of our survey, which we handed out to each classmate, asking them for their questions and their comments of their own. After collecting them back, we compiled all the questions, took the top 5, and incorporated them into our survey.
My name's Myra Medina, and as a class, we developed ideas for questions to be added in our survey. And as a question development team, we decided which questions we wanted to include in our survey that fit best. And we had the opportunity to hear from Heath Chesvick from the Institutional and Research and Planning, and we got to ask them our actual questions to see if they were appropriate for the survey, and we got to ask them if we could leave options or if we could leave yes or no questions for a survey.
Hi, I'm Megan Herrig. As stated by the previous group, our survey included questions regarding the demographics of the respondents. We then asked them 5 additional questions regarding theft. For the first 2 questions, we used a Likert type scale. We asked the respondents to answer if they had ever been the victim of a theft or witnessed a theft on campus, using a 0 to 4 scale, 0 being never. Next, we asked them what items the respondent thought were being taken the most. We listed options including electronics, books, or money. There was also a space for them to write in a specific item. We then asked them where do they think most thefts on campus occur. We gave 4 options. Those options were parking ramp, locker rooms, classrooms, or Winchester Alley. Finally, we asked how safe do you feel at Grand Rapids Community College. We offered 3 options: not at all safe, somewhat safe, or very safe.
Hi, my name is Paul Bengal. As part of the protocol team, we had to come up with a guideline for when asking students to take our survey. The following is the example of the script that we were able to come up with. We would politely say, "Excuse me, do you have a brief moment to fill out a survey?" If the student responded yes, then we followed with, "My name is Paul Bengal, and I am with Grand Rapids Community College's Criminal Justice Program. Would you please be willing to help us in conducting our research? For your participation, you will receive a token of our appreciation." If the student said no, we would politely say, "Thank you for your time and consideration."
I'm Bianca Kurt, and one of the things we established was the dress code for both the presentation and when administering the surveys. We took many factors into account, one of those things being money. We wanted everyone to look professional without needing to spend. We deliberated amongst ourselves and also with our fellow researchers. After much deliberation, we decided on what you see now. As you can see, not everyone's wearing the same color top, but everyone is wearing black bottoms. When administering surveys, we wanted everyone to look casual and more approachable. We kept things simple, and we didn't allow t-shirts, flip-flops, or ripped jeans. But everyone did have to wear one of these blue lanyards that stated Grand Rapids Community College Criminal Justice Department Student Researcher.
My name is Kayla Thompson, and as part of the protocols team, all members were responsible for administering surveys and giving directions to the participants. The surveys were dispersed on universal clipboards to keep it uniform, as seen here. And then all members took the most amount of caution when dispersing and collecting surveys to keep the confidentiality. One person was in charge of obtaining in the envelope and collecting surveys from the participants. The envelope remained closed except for when putting the surveys in it, as seen there. They also handed out pencils and suckers to the participants for contributing to our research, which is also demonstrated. We also dispersed the surveys during the same time frame of 9:30 and 11 o'clock to keep consistency. We were also responsible for placing people at appropriate locations and making sure everything ran smoothly.
Hi, good morning. My name is Carly Davis. I am speaking about why these buildings was chosen to conduct our surveys. I want to cover the whole campus and gain a deserved samples from various demographics. Also would like to maintain how we had made floaters and also extra people to walk because of how people arose, and we will have extra people will be able to handle any possibility of status, and also maintaining building selection. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Robert Cook. After we established which buildings were going to be used for administering our surveys, we decided to strategically place our survey groups in areas which offered large amounts of student traffic. By placing our people in these types of areas, we were able to effectively administer our surveys. Some of the areas we selected include the lobby at the campus library, the cafeteria at Sneeden Hall, and the entrance within the main building next to the Student Enrollment Center. In short, we made maximum use of the time allocated for administering our surveys. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Derek Hess, and this is the data analysis group. And as the data analysis group, our job was to gather the information from the surveys, make some charts, statistics to interpret it. And with that said, I'll let Sylvia here give you some basic statistics.
Even though it was a random sample survey, in our evaluation out of 200 surveys, there was 51% male and 49% female. And in our findings on the age group that took the surveys are around under 18 years old, it was 2.5%. From 18 to 21, it was 58%. From 22 to 30 was 21.5%, and 30 and over was 18%.
Hello, my name is Precious Beeson. I'm also part of the data analysis group. I'm going to just go over the ethnicity. As you can see, that 59% was Caucasian, 8.5% was Hispanic, 7.5% was other, and Native American was at 3%, 5% were Asian, and 17% were African American. As they stated previously, this was a random survey, so there wasn't any guarantee of what type of races that we were going to get.
Hi, my name is Rachel Lopez. According to the data pertaining to this survey, 90% have been a victim of theft, while 10% have not. And 92.5% never have even witnessed theft.
All right, as Rachel just said, 90% of people have never been a victim, and 92% have never even witnessed theft, and yet only 60% of the people on campus feel very safe, while the other 40% feel somewhat safe or not safe at all. And
Okay, we also did a comparison. How safe do you feel on campus? Males and females both were about at 2%, and as you can see, males felt very safe compared to females because that was at 53.1%. Somewhat safe was at, for males, 30.4% and 44.9% for females.
After looking at this data, we checked to see the victims of theft, and actually 75% of the people that were victims of theft were males. So maybe this isn't very conclusive information, but so guys, watch out, you guys are the targets. And next slide. And on January 27th, 2010, the Collegiate published an article on pinpointing theft in the field house. And so naturally, we were assuming that most people would think that theft occurs in the field house, but in actuality, that was not the case. It was actually in the parking ramps is what was most assumed where theft was going to occur. And right after that was the field house. And then what was being taken? We're at a college. Everyone has books, so we would assume that books would be taken the most. But like where that was not the case as well. Electronics was actually thought to be taken the most. And if you want to do your new slides.
Okay, I'm also going to go to age versus where does crime occur. So it's correlated data versus age and where crime occurs. We did it in order, so I'm going to start with 18 and under.
40% thought it occurred in the field house, 60% thought it occurred in the parking ramps, and everything else just was 0%. 18 to 21, 47% thought it, 47.5% thought it happened in the parking ramps, 35.5 in the field house, Winchester Alley 11%, and classroom 6%. 22 to 30, 35% in the parking ramps, 37.5 in the field house. Winchester Alley was at 10%, classrooms at 15%, and other was 2.5%. 30 and over, 37.1% were in the parking ramp, 40% was in the field house, 14.2% was in the classroom, 3% in other, and 5.7% in Winchester Alley. Where do males think crime occurs on campus? 50% thought crime occurred in the field house, 33% thought it was in the parking ramps, Winchester Alley was at 6%, classroom 8%, and other 3%. Oh, I'm going to hand it over to Rachel and Sylvia for more correlative data.
Okay, in our correlation of what items assumed to be stolen the most between males and females, with electronics, 52.9% were males and 47% were females. And between money, 20%, 0.59, and 25.55% for females. Books, 18.63% and 23.47% on females. And others, it was 7.84% compared to 3% on females.
About 14.5% of males have been a victim of theft at least once. 1% of males have been a victim 3 to 4 times, while 5.1% of females have been a victim 3 to 4 times.
Hi, my name's Ashley Spitzley, and our group was in charge of invitations and conclusions. Part of our group's duty was to create our invitations, which we worked with Fawn Tabalik, who was the Secretary of the Criminal Justice Department. Working with her, we established a date, a time, a venue. She helped us put it all on a card invitation, which we then sent out, and we also sent out an email to all the people we'd like to invite.
I'm Heather Povens. We came up with a large, in-depth list of people and groups of people from the college to invite. Since theft on campus is such a topic that affects everyone in one way or another, our list grew and grew. First of all, we invited the collegiate. We based our whole research project off an article of theirs. Then we invited the Board of Trustees, Student Life, the Counseling Department, Psychology Department, Criminal Justice Department. We also invited Heath Chelsvig. He helped us construct our survey and made sure that we had appropriate questions and that we went about giving the survey in an ethical way. We finally invited the campus police so they could see how students feel about being safe on campus and how students are affected by thefts, whether they have witnessed one or been a victim of one.
My name is Jeffrey Todd, and I interviewed Jody Reinhardt. She is the Police Academy Director. I interviewed her about in-house internships. I asked her, how can the Grand Rapids Community College Police Academy help prevent theft on campus? She said by offering the presence of uniformed recruits to reduce or prevent crime. They could assist with parking issues and concerns, assist students and faculty with lockouts, lost, stolen, or found property to free up the officers' time. Police recruits cannot replace police officers, but the recruits could assist with tasks that does not involve suspects or arrests. Reichardt believes it would be a win-win situation for both the academy and the police department. I also interviewed Lieutenant Woodworth. I asked him what has been done by the Grand Rapids Community College Police to prevent theft. He said they have increased patrols in areas of problems, such as the Ford Fieldhouse and the parking ramps. They are also in the process of implementing more security cameras and parking ramps, and they are reminding students and faculty about the problems. I asked him, what should students do if they see a crime being committed? He said, contact police immediately at 234-4010 or contact 911. there is a students reporting suspicious behavior campaign hotline also.
It is important that we figure out who is committing theft. Thefts are being committed by students and also a few outsiders. We needed to look at ways to prevent crime. If you have a locker, it's important that you always lock it and never give out your combination. It's also important that you always lock your car. Never leave your valuables in plain sight. Also, if you have things such as laptops, iPads or something, or books, perhaps put it in your trunk, because if your car is broken into, the trunk is much harder to get into. And most importantly, if you see a crime, you need to report it. If we all work together, we can help to stop theft on campus.
Hello, my name is Shannon Woodall. I was part of the PowerPoint development team. We correlated with all the different groups that you saw here today. We had to make sure that while developing the PowerPoint, we did not overshadow the seriousness of the subject that was being talked about. Also, while doing so, we had to come up with a design that worked with everybody. So we all, talking and correlating together, tweaking this constantly, came up with a final product that we all could be satisfied with. Along with that, we created a logo that you could see at the bottom right-hand corner, so that way people were able to use this later on in their careers to show that they were capable of working in large groups.
Hi, my name is December. I was also part of the PowerPoint group and like to thank everyone for coming and hope you enjoyed our presentation. Thank you.